Lucy Edwards, Director of Client Success at VHT Studios. And my guest today is Matt Leone, Chief Marketing Officer at Brown Harris Stevens. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how are you, Lucy?
So Matt and I will go back quite a few years, right?
Yeah.
It's such a pleasure to be here, and especially today when you had a great event, two wonderful companies merged together, Halstead and Brown Harris Stevens. New brand, strong brand, a brand with history. Let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, first, obviously, the integration of both companies. You have the innovative spirit of Halstead, been around 35 years, always sort of trying to push the envelope, do things that are, unique in the industry. And you're combining it with one of the finest brands in real estate in the country. It's been around since 1873. It's gone through generational ebbs and flows of this industry, but still stays true to itself, still stays successful. If you look at its track record, Brown Harris Stevens, they own the record for highest price ever achieved for a co-op, a resale condo, a resale townhouse in New York City. They are consistently, breaking records, but at the same time, they serve a diverse clientele. They still do a good amount of business under $1 million. And I think the difference that Brown Harris Stevens has always had is that the luxury association with Brown Harris Stevens was never about the property value that we represented. It was always about the quality of service that we provided. I mean, when you go to that 5-star hotel, when you go in to get that luxury vehicle and you purchase it, there is a different customer service experience that one would receive from those types of experiences. And we believe at Brown Harris Stevens, through the training that agents have had, some of the most professional, experienced, knowledgeable agents in the industry, that they approach business in that way. And for that reason, that is the differentiator between us, not just the date that's on our wall, but also the quality of our agents. And we have an amazing ad campaign. I'll even go into it later on with you that is going to be imminently launching in October that really touches on that exact concept. The understanding of who Brown Harris Stevens is, why use a Brown Harris Stevens agent. We've been around for so long, but at the same time, we a lot of the times have had others tell our story instead of us telling our own story, because we, for the most part, have always been a firm that was rooted in discretion, has not been one that, boasting about our success. But I think there is a time where you do have to go out and tell your story. And we're looking forward to doing that starting in October.
I would say Brown Harris Stevens is famous for being a boutique, white glove service, the right approach, that chemistry that you are building between the agent and their clients.
Correct.
And between your management and the agent. So I think that's what separates you from others.
I agree. I mean, I think when we were doing the integration of both companies, going from almost a boutique feel brokerage, still by number, agent count, still sort of lived under that world, to taking on 1,400 Halstead agents and trying to become one firm. The one thing that was said throughout that integration was that the core competency of Brown Harris Stevens that separates us from the rest is that boutique feel, is that you still have to be accessible. You still have to, as if you're a division head, be available to agents. You still have to provide that high touch service and have the resources to do that. And we have have been able to accomplish that through this integration. I think the agents, an enormous retention rate throughout this process that we were actually named by The Real Deal a couple months back as the fastest growing brokerage. Yes, because we combined two firms, but also because we retained most of them. At the end of the day, Halstead agents could have chosen to go elsewhere. Exactly. They had every opportunity to do that. Every agent is an independent contractor. Nothing is binding them to staying here. So many of them bought into this concept, and it really says a lot about the power of what Brown Harris Stevens is and what they want their agents to be.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask you. How did Halstead agents embrace the new brand? How did they adapt, adjust it? Are they enjoying it? And how they leverage it with their own personal brand to promote themselves as well as to promote their listings?
Well, I think number one, Halstead was a very close-knit culture. What they needed to know immediately was that close-knit culture is not going away. That familial culture that that the directors and the support staff and the teams that support the agent are still going to have that culture feel. That was something that Brown Harris Stevens had already. So that was, once the agents felt that, they felt very good about the experience of moving to Brown Harris Stevens. But I think at the end of the day, most Halstead agents love the fact that they can now own the stats and the panache that's associated with Brown Harris Stevens. They own so many records. The average Brown Harris Stevens agent, I believe, grosses more than any other agent inside this industry in New York City. And then you look at us nationally. The highest average sales price achieved per agent in the country out of 86,000 brokerages, according to Real Trends, is Brown Harris Stevens and remained as Brown Harris Stevens after the integration this year announced. So it states about like they're at a place of great quality, great experience, great knowledge, great professionalism, and the agents that want to be a part of that Harvard of real estate. So many people say that. Stayed here. And the ones that maybe were looking for something else, which were very, very few, moved on. But I think that everyone that's serious about a full-time career in real estate and growing and being around collaborative agents that are willing to work with you and not feel like they have to be doing their own business and this needs to be a competitive environment. If they believe in that, they're here and they're here to stay, because you walk the offices at Brown Harris Stevens and so many agents talk about being here for most of their career, some of them 30, 40 plus years, and they're still going strong. And it says something about what has been built here and what has kept about this brand. I think there's so many brands that over time have gotten so big that have become so watered down and they blend into every other brokerage out there. I believe Brown Harris Stevens stands by itself in some of the traits that it still exhibits and provides to its agents and clients.
As a matter of fact, yesterday I had great conversation with Mickey Alam Khan, and he was speaking very highly about your company, about Brown Harris Stevens. He was also, I had a question. How does the agent feel about company brand? Why the agent joins certain company brand? And his answer, and you said the same thing, his reply was, the company invests in their brand. Some agents, they're proud to be under the umbrella of Brown Harris Stevens, and that's what makes them so passionate about being part of the team, because you give them the base, you cover their back, if you say, and I think that is extremely important. And also, I understand, since you are part of Luxury Portfolio International, as well as leading RE, you are arranging and you are helping agents to have that network service throughout the whole country. Because being a boutique-ish company, you are like mostly in New York metropolitan area, you're in Connecticut, in New Jersey, and you are very famous there. You have great market share, so that is wonderful. And you also have South Florida and you have Palm Beach. And then everything else can be accomplished through your partnerships.
Well, I think going back to what you were saying, I think what's most important is that you just look at what a client thinks of a real estate agent. Usually the client sees that there's a relationship that has been formed for, an interpersonal relationship between that agent and that client. I think that's the strongest bond, number one. So the power of the agent and building of that business, I think the client always, 99% of the time, goes with the agent. So that's the most important part of the building of that sort of transactional relationship. Then it gets to the point of, you still need to be seen as a brand and as a firm and a services that are good enough and even exceptional enough to service that client and that agent as well. Because the agent brokerage, is a partnership. The agent does their part and the brokerage does their part. And we see it as the agent is a powerful brand. Each one of those agents are a CEO of their own business.
Mm-hmm.
And they do live under the Brown Harris Stevens umbrella, but we live in a world that the agent and their relationship with their client is 9 times out of 10 paramount to everything. So we have to invest in the agent and their brand and still talk about the story of why that agent who has that strong bond partners with us. So that's still part of the equation. And I think it's a very important part, especially at some of the price points that our agents deal in, is that when you do that, you have to provide an exceptional marketing program. And we believe that we do that for these very exceptional properties that we represent, as well as at all price points. I mean, you still need to feel like you have a very strong marketing program, a very strong, international affiliate network, which we have with Leading RE Luxury Portfolio, like you were saying, in Mayfair, and know that formula will lead to a home achieving its maximum sales price. And we believe that formula is second to none. And our agents and our retention sort of supports that.
Well, that brings me to the question of marketing. And VHT Studios, we're all about marketing. And I've been in marketing for so many years, I don't even want to admit to the number. But marketing strategy for every listing, and we can talk about luxury listings. For someone, 500,000 is luxury. For someone is $1 million. For someone is 25 million. But regardless, what is the what kind of support you are offering to your agents to create that marketing strategy for a certain listing that might be difficult or unique? It could be absolutely fabulous for entertainment, but not raising the family or something like that. Does your marketing team work with agents individually?
Well, I think every property, every market is unique. So when you're talking about a $500,000 studio, that might be the most exceptional studio out there with very unique characteristics. So we have marketing specialists inside our, it's about a 35, 40 member team now.
Nice.
That's a floor below us. Is we do have high touch with every one of our agents. They have a menu of services that they have an opportunity to take advantage of. They have consult from us on for this type of property, you should probably choose from these packages. But at any point in time when they want to have a custom conversation, they have one with us. And we then provide custom solutions. We might see something that is never been done before should be utilized for this type of property to help get it to the finish line and sell. I think so. The short answer to that is every property is unique. I mean, the other day I was on a call with an actual seller talking about what are you going to do for my home that's a little bit differently. And we talked about some of the unique characteristics, one of which was a 25-car garage. And I was like, all right, well, we're going to center a lot of our marketing around that garage and around the individuals that might want to take advantage of that garage. So that is, auto aficionados.
Exactly.
and individuals that do collect cars. So finding lists, finding partnerships that are, center around that, partnering with influencers, shooting content, partnering with Miller Motor Cars, and doing things that are unique for that property.
That particular property.
So that's where things that come into play where it's not look at the menu, look at our suite of services, choose from those check boxes. It's let's have a unique conversation. Let's even have a conversation about what's the selling point of that home. And let's work in conjunction with our amazing PR team to try and get earned media on that. Let's try and get a story on that, and then let's fuel our marketing from that story. That's where the unique one-on-one, bespoke, boutique-ish type conversations separate you from the pack. It's not a just go to the menu and that's all you have, and go have at it like so many big brands do. It's like, let's sit down, let's set up a time, let's have a conversation, and let's brainstorm every possible opportunity that we can have for that. And I think that's why Brown Harris Stevens love this type of service, because that service then gets translated over to the client, and the client's like, wow, you are representing me in the same way that I would be serviced at a 5-star restaurant or hotel, or when I'm going to buy that Maserati and I'm in that showroom and I feel differently than going to the standard, sedan showroom. It's a difference here, and it's all about hospitality. It's all about professionalism. It's all about discretion. It's quite honestly all about something that was built by our New York City president, Hall Wilkie, on the art of, sales professionalism. And he tries to have that permeate to all our markets. And Bess has adopted that as, one of the most powerful leaders inside this industry, has adopted that level of professionalism and that approach towards business that I think, again, separates us, because you could very easily fall into the same exact approach that most every brokerage operates nationally on if you don't spend time in concentrating on not being that. And that's what we spend so much of our time on, is that how do we do something that separates us from the pack and still creates a uniqueness about working with someone with a Brown Harris Stevens business card. And that's almost like what keeps me up at night, is that how do I continue to separate myself from the pack and provide exceptional service that is different from everyone else. And I think we have a responsibility to the experienced professional agents at Brown Harris Stevens to provide that exact type of service.
And would you say, on average, so I totally understand about like the top of the luxury and 25-car garage, that is not your average listing. And though, let's say a listing that is still unique and wonderful, let's say Darien, Connecticut, they have beautiful, absolutely, great architectural details. Would you say that your agents, especially recently, since, during pandemic and such, would you say that your agents are including more products and services? Like, photography is a given. You are doing floor plans, and you have been for so long. 3D tours, you've been doing for years and years when no one else really was doing it. But what other products, like, are they now investing more resources, more time into their marketing strategy?
Well, I think, as we're, in the tail end or what have you of the pandemic, and have been dealing with the last year and a half of a different way of approaching business, we have found that the approach to business that we should be concentrating more on is being as transparent as we can and providing as much information at the point of search, not at the point of find. And the point of search is that providing everyone the most transparent experience that gives them the ability to do a virtual walkthrough of that home at a moment's notice when you're at the comfort of your own home and you actually toured that space. Our job as real estate professionals is to prepare that space for sale, to make it as attractive as it possibly can. And I think that's what's so great about so many of the Brown Harris Stevens agents is they tend to have a background on staging and interior design and prep. So if you do that to your home, you can present and be fully transparent on every room of that home. I think that we have a responsibility to the buyers out there that are going through an incredibly stressful experience to provide either an emotional attachment to it by telling the full emotional story through a video or through a transparent walkthrough that you receive from a 3D tour. Those are products that I feel the industry has not adopted enough of. Even post-pandemic, I still see the numbers not enough. Before the pandemic, I think nationally 6% of homes had a video associated with it. And that could be even lower by the slideshows that are worthless regurgitation of the photos they already saw. So I'm talking about investing in partners. Like we have in-house people. We also have partners of ours that at a very inexpensive cost, at a very high quality, provide those solutions to agents. And us as a broker pays for them so the agent does not have to worry about the costs of them. Because I never want to get between the client and the agent by saying the agent's going to be like, well, I don't
afford it. Yeah.
I don't think we should be doing that. Not because it's going to help sell the property, but it's just not worth it to me. That should never be. We have a responsibility to the seller to represent that home as best we can. And that's what a full service brokerage does. And that's what we provide. So at a moment's notice, an agent at Brown Harris Stevens should take advantage of those types of services. You know, obviously taking photos of the home with the architectural photographer, you know, going to a professional drafter, getting a floor plan, you know, those are obviously important. You know, working in conjunction with our copywriters on a great story to tell about the home through copy.
And you have a program for staging as well. The company has a program for real staging. I'm not talking about virtual staging.
We have an amazing program called Curate by BHS, which is providing upfront payment for home preparation services. So if we're talking about staging, decluttering, redoing the floors, painting, the things that I think every person that's looking to sell their home should seriously consider.
Exactly.
Because right now what you're looking at is the best get a premium price in every market that we're in. Suburbs, even New York, we're almost in a seller's market right now because of the interest that we're getting from properties that are move-in ready. So if you can invest a little bit up front, you're going to get that money back in spades.
Exactly.
And not have to worry about the cost. We, as an organization, through our partnerships, will cover the cost, get those services done, have it staged, have it decluttered, have it painted, maybe have the floors done, maybe have the windows washed. When someone walks through that door, it feels like a fresh, new, in some instances, sterile environment that people want to call home from day one. So many people don't want to look in there and say, well, I have to do this, and this.
Yeah, like I can't imagine if you were to get rid of that old furniture, I can't even imagine how my furniture would look here. So when you prepare the house properly, but let me come back, Matt, for a second to video, because I understand a few years back, you were one of the speakers on video at Inman, and Inman is so progressive. It's so advanced. It's, ahead of its time, ahead of our time. And it was great that you were able to deliver your message on the importance of video. So, and that's when no one else was even doing it. Can we talk about video for a minute?
No, certainly. We were talking about this earlier before we were on camera. I think that it dates me a little bit, but like back when I was maybe like 15 years ago when I was 25 years old starting in this industry, I had this real vision with my organization that video was something that you needed to invest in, because I felt that, number one, if we're operating so much in New York City, New York metro area, I feel like New York, you should be operating in your marketing strategies like Madison Avenue and not Main Street. You should be doing things that are separating yourself from the pack, and you should be marketing your home in a way that feels almost extraordinary, like this emotional attachment that one would have. And so many of the agents that work in real estate, funny enough, come from a mild acting or Broadway or theater background,
Really?
where they are. I'd say maybe about 5 to 10% of the agents are that. You're not going to find that in other markets. I think that it's probably like 1%. But if you're extraordinary on camera, and you will add value to the home by how you present the home on camera, and you have a filmmaker that is shooting the home in ways that you create an emotional attachment to it, and you tell the story that, quite honestly, people don't read anymore. The attention span of a human has devolved past a goldfish. So at this point, we are looking at how are we going to keep the attention of someone who's looking at hundreds of homes. The answer to that is moving motion picture, and it's constantly changing. Change the camera angle every 3 seconds. Bring in soundtrack. Bring in some really creative, 3-axis gimbals or handheld gimbals or tracks. Bring in maybe drone work. And then you're watching a film that you forgot that you were buying a home, which feels stressful, but you're immersed inside this experience. And you have a longer time on site, and you have more reason to be emotionally attached to that home. For that investment, which honestly I think is a mild investment considering the average sales price of most of the markets that we're in, I believe that is a necessity. Not every agent feels that way. I
disagree. You have a lot of agents, and more than other companies, that invest in videos where they are present in the video. So it's not just about the property. It's also them telling the story.
Well, don't get me wrong. I don't believe, for any agent that's watching this, I don't believe every agent should be on camera. I don't. And the reason for that is that individuals that are not trained, that are not handheld and guided, could actually devalue the home by presenting it in a way that is not the way that should be presented for a full service brokerage. So do I present that on camera alternative to every agent? I would say with the proper training, we go over concepts. A good filmmaker would know their limits. I would say that yes, but I just believe that we have a responsibility to the seller, that we have to present the home in the best way. If it's that agent on camera as often as possible, let's do it. If it's the agent on camera a minimal amount of time doing some voiceover work, then that's the way that we go.
So now from videos, I would like to take you to social media. How your agents deal with social media, and what's your opinion on new things like Clubhouse and TikTok? And I can't even keep up with all that. So what about you personally and your agents?
All right. Well, let's start in the basics. I think 85% or even higher than that of agents' business comes from their personal network. Mm-hmm. The best way of staying top of mind to your personal network is through social media. Do you want to call your sphere of influence every week? Absolutely not. No one wants to hear from anyone once a week on the phone. Do they want to receive an email? No, they absolutely do not. But do they want to see in their news feed information of great value while they peruse through theirs from that agent? 100% they do. Do they want to be interacting with them through comments and direct messaging through that very social, informal platform? Absolutely. So should every agent that sees their network on a specific social medium take time out of their day every day to invest in providing valued content on it? Absolutely. Should you be providing content just to have content on there? Absolutely not. The reason why you should be on social media is when you have something good and of value to say. I don't think that you should force a hand in being on there 2-3 times a day. Got to put something up, so let me just find anything and put it out there. That's noise. That's when you're at a social gathering and someone talks too much. They overstay their welcome. You don't want that at social media, especially due to the algorithms When you are ignored and you're not interacted with, when you're not commented on, you will slowly move further and further down in their snooze feed, and they're not going to see you over time. So my short answer is with valued content, with a good strategy for content, I don't believe any social medium is out of play. Like, I'm not going to say to you for 1 second that one social media you should absolutely not be on, because I see that there are agents coming into this industry now, which I didn't see like 10, 15 years ago. I didn't see people right out of college deciding they want a career in real estate. It's usually like, I tried something, didn't work out, I got into real estate, I found it successful, and then I went into it. Or I had a family in real estate and I had to go into it. So I'm now seeing that, and I'm seeing those individuals, and get involved in some of these platforms that are evolving, like a TikTok or something of that value. So I'm not saying that you should be on there. I should or shouldn't be on there. I'm saying, is your sphere of influence on there? And if you are, speak to your experts inside of your organization about how to properly message on that platform, and then jump into it. But a vast majority of agents, I think Instagram and LinkedIn are absolutely a must-have. I think everyone's network is on there in one shape or form. I think that, I think Facebook has pretty much jumped the shark. If you're trying to use it for business, you're not going to be able to really engage with them from a business sense, because you're so low on the algorithms now, and they do that so that you buy boost ads, right, so that you could show up higher. So that's out. I think Twitter is just a bunch of noise from brands and influencers and politicians. I think if you didn't start in it 15 years ago or 10 years ago, you're probably not going to ever be seen on that.
And you really have to invest so much time. You have to tweet all day long. You can't just do one post like you do with Instagram.
But if you're looking for a news aggregation, I think that works quite nicely. I am obviously keeping my eyes on Clubhouse, because I feel like, and having an audible social medium that really sort of creates micro podcasting and like on the fly podcasting, I do enjoy. I think that real estate has embraced it a good amount. There are some really good players that providing great information on there. The only problem that I have with Clubhouse is that I'm already invested in so many of these social mediums. Do I have time for another one? I try to get in there and invest some time in that, but I'm a busy man. I have 2 young children. I'm invested so much of my time in the success of Brown Harris Stevens. I haven't found the time to do that, but I do know some agents that have and have found great success on it. And it's because they're providing content that's of value. Like right now, you have a video series that you want to ask questions that your audience wants to hear the answers to. You don't want to, riddle it with a bunch of minutia that is about, sort of I'm pretty type messaging of I'm just going to talk about myself and what I've done or my personal opinions. It should be around, what is that person who's watching it or reading it or listening to it getting out of it? What's their take home? If you're providing them with good, useful take homes, then they will be coming back for more. And that's the juice that powers social media, is if you provide take homes, then you will build an audience. And it doesn't have to be a large audience. It just needs to be the audience that right you know, yes, or want to know. And if you're providing them with value, then social media is gold. If you provide value on a monthly or quarterly newsletter, your value is gold. If you're providing a monthly video series on YouTube, your value is gold. If you're providing a mailer every quarter to a building that talks about what's going on in that neighborhood, what's trading in that building, where that property value is, that's gold, because they want it. But if you don't know your audience, you don't know what they want to hear, then you are lost. And it's a waste of your time that you're taking away from prospecting and so on and so forth and servicing your clients. But it has to be part of the equation, but it has to be done right.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I believe in social media, though I'm still learning a lot. I actually hired a company who helped me. So, and I encourage agents when I do my presentations, I always say, you don't have to know everything 100%. You just have to know someone who knows and who will help you.
That's
so
true.
If you are not able and if you don't have enough time, ask for help, pay for it. It's an investment. Just like you are investing in your marketing, you are investing in your clothing, in your education. That is another investment. But social media is important. And I agree with you on LinkedIn and on Instagram. I think those are the two platforms that are very important and everyone should really participate and participate daily.
And you touched on a point that is important, is if you decide that you either don't have the time or don't have the skill set to be successful on social media, and you want to find a partner, like let's say an assistant or a third-party organization to do that, you have to make sure that you don't outsource your voice. You have to be a part of that conversation in some way. Everything needs to be run by you that organization or assistant is posting. Everything needs to be from your mind, not theirs, because they're not connecting to that person that's managing your account.
I totally
they don't know you or want to know you for that matter. They know you, the agent behind that account, and you have to be a part of it. So I believe in outsourcing that, but I 100% put a huge caveat on that in saying that if you're going to outsource it, you're going to have a weekly meeting, you're going to have approvals behind all of that content that they're sharing, and it needs to be your knowledge that's being presented.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you. In my case, I prepare all my posts myself. It's just that sometimes I have difficult time uploading it, or it's too long, and what do I do next? So I have a person I go to who helps me actually, and who educates me and who helped me create. It's all from technical point of view, but all the posts are mine. It's my voice. It's my video that I create. And I think, there is nothing wrong of hiring someone who will help you if you are like me, have sometimes issues with technology. So hire someone, educate yourself, learn from it.
You also investing in a scheduling software that would allow you to not have to actively be posting at all times. I think those are all great options. I think that the one thing you have to worry about is make sure, like you said, is it's your words. And at the same time, if you are outsourcing it or if you are scheduling it, response time is a reflection of your what you're going to be bringing to the table as a licensed sales professional. So if you're not responding to a comment or a direct message in the time that you should be, let's say within a half hour, an hour, then it's a reflection of, will you be responding to that potential buyer or renter of that home in the timely manner as well? And I think that if you're going to really invest your time in social media, you got to be prompt in your response
and
as well.
You have to be available to check your messages and make sure that you are on top of it.
Correct.
And that brings me to my last question about your team, your marketing team, which is a large one. Do you invest also in research of new marketing trends and marketing tools?
I mean, it's funny. We have I think the strongest marketing team in my career right now working for us. We're siloed into individual groups that have a responsibility but still collaborate with one another. So we have a team of marketing specialists whose job is to be agent first and do everything for the agents. We have a design end of our team that just designs for agents as well and all their needs. But then we have another part that's a sort of a corporate team that concentrates on the brand and concentrates on corporate initiatives and the next big thing that you need to find and provide. Because I've never seen it now stronger in terms of competition within this industry on providing ease of business solutions, an end-to-end platform, technology that fuels agents' business, and solutions to getting to the finish line more than it is today. So we have to invest in that as well. So that's a big part of my job, where I love to sort of find the next big thing and then bring it to my team and sort of shop it from there. But I also have individuals whose job is to concentrate on, what is the next big thing in e-commerce? What's the next big thing in social media? What's the next big thing in digital advertising? What's the next big thing in video? What's the next big thing in, web design? I have individuals whose job is to just concentrate on that. And I think that drives things to a point where we are relevant. We stay top of mind to a lot of our clients, saying, well, they do have the tools that are necessary. We're competitive with what's being offered inside this industry. And I think that's all we have to ask for as the partners for agents, is just give them, the best in class products, and they will never look elsewhere. And that's our job, is that if we continue to stay ahead of the curve and continue to provide best in class product, I think we hold up our end of the bargain, and the stats support being the highest average sales price per agent in the country of Brown Harris Stevens. The Brown Harris Stevens agents sure as heck, will and held up their end of the bargain. So we just have to do ours, and I feel confident that we're doing that.
Well, the environment that you have created in the company at Brown Harris Stevens is that you have to be proud, or you should be proud, whatever which way you want, to be part of that brand and that company. And I think that's amazing. I think that is a really great environment that agents wake up in the morning and they feel so good about what's going to happen today, that your company will support them, that your company is one step ahead by doing the research, creating marketing tools, knowing what's going next, being prepared. And when it does come to the market, you are there. So that's important.
Well, I think it starts at the top. I think that when you look at our organizational structure, our CEO, Bess Friedman, is in my opinion, a visionary. I think that, when you look at media outlets, no one is asking for a real estate expert more than Bess on nationally recognized, like CNBC and Fox Business and, Bloomberg and Cheddar and Yahoo Finance. They're all like, she's on there regularly, like once a week, because she is a visionary. She sees the big picture. She understands where this industry is going, where the markets are going for that matter. And she is exciting to be working with and for. And then you, on top of that, have, a powerful CFO, COO, and Alan Kersner, and a co-chairman team of New York first real estate minds as heading up our organization and owning and operating this organization. That means that they're about one thing about real estate, and that's all we ask for. Like, if I'm going to be given creative freedom to create things for this brand, I want to know that the people that are viewing this and approving it are ones that are real estate first, and they're not looking at a bigger picture somewhere else, looking to diversify to other industries. We're about one thing. We're about real estate, and that's what we do, and that's fun to be a part of, because I like what this industry provides in terms of service, and I sure like the product that we represent and the stories behind each one of them. So it's honestly a privilege to be in the position that I am now in such a large organization. It's a great cohesive unit that we have and what we're building here, and I'm really excited for the future.
Well, that was quite a conversation, Matt. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I certainly appreciate Brown Harris Stevens even more, though I've known the brand for so long. I respect it, but now I understand even more details about how unique and how boutique-ish, if you will, your brand is. So having said that, thank you so much for being with us today. And my guest, Matt Leone, and Lucy Edwards, Director of Client Success at VHT Studios. We're here, and please go to vht.com/learn to watch my videos. Have a great day. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Lucy.